It's match week 5, so let's do Premier League predictions. The Liverpool game's about to start. Derby day, Liverpool versus Everton at Anfield. Looking at the lineup, Florian squirts. He's had stinkers upon stinkers upon stinkers, and Arsenal finally said, yo, bro, I gotta bench you. I have to bench you. They've put Szoboszlai in the middle and Bradley and Kirkes as fullbacks. And I'm going to be honest, the bright sparks for Everton are going to be Grealish and Ndie. If they have a great game, then I think Everton will win because Beto is not doing anything to Van Dijk and Konate. But look, man, Florian Squirts and Frimpong are on the bench, so we're not going to see any of that sorcery that they did the last 4 games. I feel like Liverpool are going to win this comfortably. I'm going to predict Liverpool comfortable 3-0. Now, moving on to the big one today, Manchester United versus Chelsea. Garnacho returns to the theatre of dreams. And look, Manchester United fans, I know Garnacho is going to score against you guys, but I just can't prove it. If you guys let Garnacho score against you guys today, it just keeps painting the narrative that anytime a player leaves Manchester United, he was never the problem, it was Manchester United. But look, yeah, if Garnacho has a stinker today, aye, Manchester United fans are ready. They're ready with this. But look, my prediction for this game, look, there's no way in hell Manchester United are winning. Chelsea are going to beat Manchester United 4-0. Moving on to Brighton versus Tottenham. Looking at their last 5 head-to-head, Brighton has just had the edge over Tottenham. What I'm looking forward to in this game is Carlos Baleba matching up with Xavi Simons. I'm quite looking forward to that duel. But look, I'm gonna give it to Spurs. Spurs are a different side this season, and I feel like it could be a 2-1, it could be a 3-1. Moving on to West Ham versus Crystal Palace, and West Ham have had the most disastrous start to the Premier League. They've conceded around 11 goals, and I think they've scored around 4 goals. They're currently in the relegation zone. They're, facing up against a good Crystal Palace team who are coming off with, I don't think they've lost their last 10 games. So look, I'm going to give this to Crystal Palace. I'm going to say Crystal Palace. It's going to be a boring game, but I'm going to say Crystal Palace win 1-0. Next, let's move on to Nottingham Forest versus Burnley, and we all know that Nottingham Forest are coming from a spanking from Arsenal, and Burnley were very unlucky against Liverpool. But look, man, get ready for a very, very boring game if you're watching this, Burnley and Nottingham Forest fans. I'm not even going to predict any goals in this game. I'm going to predict a 0-0. Next, we've got Wolves versus Leeds, and Wolves have won no games in the Premier League so far. And look, I said at the start of the season when I was making my, 2025-2026 end of the season table predictions, I said Wolves will be one of the teams to get relegated, and it's starting to look like that. But look, for this game, I'm going to predict Leeds get a comfortable 2-0 win against Wolves. Next, let's move on to the last game of today. We've got Fulham versus Brentford at Craven Cottage. And look, this is a very, very unpredictable game. Fulham have beat Brentford in their own stadium. Brentford have beat Fulham in their own stadium. Their last 5 to heads is very unpredictable, and it could go either way, So I'm going to predict Fulham beat Brentford. Let's say 1-0, 1-0. But look, guys, that is the end of match week 5 predictions for today. I'm going to do predictions for tomorrow. But look, Manchester United fans, if you let this guy score against you, that's it. You guys have to be relegated at this point. But if you like this video, make sure that you follow, make sure that you drop a like, leave a comment for who you think is going to win, Manchester United or Chelsea.